for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, we're going to start with roll call. We'll start, Chief.
Bill Pulaski, Chief of Police.
Krista Heineman, Township Engineer.
Jim Sullivan, Director of Engineering Services.
Dave Chris, Director of Finance.
Jeff Winterbottom, Assistant Manager. Bob Hart, Township Manager.
Sean Kilkenny, Township Solicitor.
Joe Giovanni, Supervisor.
Laura Rivera, Supervisor.
Kevin McDevitt, Supervisor.
Dennis DeSanto, Chair. Welcome to East Orange Township. I'd like to announce that the board met in executive session to discuss matters of personnel and litigation. Approval of regular meeting minutes for July 25th, 2023. Any questions from the board regarding minutes? Would anyone care to make a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Also on the minutes, I'll have to abstain, I wasn't at the meeting last.
Okay. Supervisor Levanis made a motion.
I will second that.
Thanks, Supervisor Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Citizens to be heard. No?
Oh, it was that?
Yeah?
I thought it was all the way at the bottom.
No, there's two places. All right, if you just want to head over to the podium, give your name and your address.
My name is Gwendolyn Bivens, and I'm at 2111 Rawley Avenue, East Norriton. I have a couple, I don't think, but one of them is a complaint about 2201 Rawley Avenue. The grass, I don't care what his house looked like, I don't care. Something needs to be done about those weeds. East Norriton came out, they did cut down last year some trees or whatever, but they left a mess. All they did was prune it, and now it's, wow. You got a garage with all the weeds on top of the garage.
So the homeowner isn't cutting the grass.
Homeowner's not doing anything.
At East Norton last season,
Oh, I've been complaining about this for about 10 years.
and did our guys come out and do work and leave the mess? Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah. Last year, they came and cut the trees, but they left the mess.
We're well aware of.
Okay, you don't have.
Right.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been complaining for years.
No, we have, we've gone through, and I fully understand.
Correct.
Fully
And it's
understand.
just, if I cut my grass and I keep my property, you guys have a property maintenance. If I decide to sell my house, people look at that and you're like, ah. So that's my concern. Something needs to be done immediately because he don't care. You can write him a million fines or whatever. He just
That's the problem.
don't care. He just don't care. I mean, he go play golf every day.
Okay.
I give, if you want me to give you a.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're aware of
you
it.
guys know. My next one is, you have cracks in the street. I'm tired of spraying weed spray to get rid of the grass. If you can't resurface, fill the cracks. It's great you guys put out the speed bumps, the stop signs, the white lights, the white lines, but that street hasn't been resurfaced since 2005 when they put the water system back there.
On Raleigh Avenue.
On Rawley and the streets. 2005, you guys came and put the water line because everybody had wells. Nothing has been done since. And you done built houses back there, big trucks are back there. So if you can't resurface, fill the cracks in. Because a crack can become worse. So I'm just saying, it can become worse. And I noticed the cracks are getting bigger and bigger. And before you know it, it could be a sinkhole. It's a problem.
And you're spraying weed killer in the crowd?
In the cracks, in the street.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, because I try to keep my property nice and I try to keep the street nice because that's where I live.
No,
So,
I understand.
so that's what I do, you know, that's what I do. My next one is.
How many you got?
This is the last one.
All right.
This is the last one. The police department used to patrol back the park. I have cameras, and I live on the street where the park is. At certain times, it's activities in that park. And I don't want it to get
Out of hand.
correct. And it's not like 10, 11 o'clock. It's like 1, 2, at that time.
In the morning or in the?
Or in the morning.
Okay.
You know, AM. And it's like I said, believe me, I've been back there 28 years. You patrol, you do grade, you call, you come out. But we need them not at 10 o'clock at night. We need them at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
Chief, did you want to comment at all?
We've been patrolling the area regularly. I'll double check and see what times. I know we have spoken with folks and we said the best way is if you see something, call us. So we're not trying to put the burden on you, but it's just the most effective way because when we're patrolling, obviously it's random. But if we know that there's a problem, well now we can focus in a little bit more, but it's always, and again, we don't want to get you in trouble and we would never say so and so, well, obviously we would never
Don't tell them you're calling.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it.
well, our concern is that we don't want the people who are in the park, they're obviously going to infer it's a neighbor, and so we're very concerned about that too. So we don't want to put the burden on the resident to call us, so we will patrol now around that time, but if you can, or even, again, if you have a concern about calling, if you can let us know the next day that we're out here last night, such a time.
Okay, yeah.
Because we're down to minimum staffing, that means there's one person in that zone. But we've taken, we've really
Yeah, I know, I see.
worked
you
on
camera.
Rahway, like big time.
I see
We've
you on that.
adopted Rahway and, once we put the park there, we'll actually rename the park, resurface the park.
Yep.
Immediately we were concerned that could be an attractive nuisance, bringing people in from other parts, from Plymouth, from Norristown,
Oh,
such a beautiful park. So we were particularly patrolling there, we were asking the residents just to make sure. So we are very conscious of making sure that you are satisfied with what goes on there without creating a problem for you and also without creating a problem for the people in the park. So
Right,
people in the
right.
park generally tend to be very nice.
Yeah.
And when they are loud, playing music, it is not intentional. And we ask them to shut it down. Not only do they shut it down, but we get an apology for, if they have inconvenienced the residents.
Well, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, are we worried about the people in the park?
Yeah.
Well, they
because
shouldn't, I mean, obviously the park is closed, so this is the first I'm hearing about that.
No, I mean like offending the people that are hanging in the park.
Well,
Yeah,
it's-
they have to know good.
it's a violation of the ordinance, so
Right.
that's an easy one.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
One more, just one
I
more.
suppose.
You guys cut trees down in the park last week and this week, and it's a stump that's there, and it spikes in it, and the kids are playing on that big stump. So they need to come and cut it a little bit more, so the kids don't play on it, because kids find things to play on that they're not supposed to play on.
Jim?
So
You know-
somebody's gonna.
Yeah, okay.
We're good.
All right,
That's
duly
it.
noted. I'll see you next month.
Oh, I'm saying.
I know. I'm counting on it.
Oh, I'm here.
All right. Any other citizens to be heard?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just give you a
Absolutely.
little brief on.
Sure.
The house that was discussed at first, it is, because we're not identifying the house or the name of the individual, I can give you a little bit more. It's a tough situation. It's a very problematic, to say the least, property. We went in because we literally were concerned with rats or coming out of this brush, it's just outrageous. So the problem is, no matter how much you cite this particular homeowner, nothing happens. The county can't even sell the house. Meaning, there's so many things that any other house would have been sold 6 years ago. I looked up all the county just says, okay, we don't even pay us because we can't sell it. What are we gonna do here? We have to almost drop a bomb on it. We have been in, and Jim could tell you, we've been in the house numerous times with the owner. We made him leave the house, not stay there until a minimum was done. And even still, when he was allowed to go back in, it was at the bare minimum. We had the county's human services, a variety of agencies, reach out to him. He just never follows up or never deals with it. So it is absolutely a problematic house. We're gonna have to come up with another legal, and I have to talk to the solicitor because I can tell you, and Jim and I go by there at least once a week. And it's always, I mean, we've spoken and we've spoken to other neighbors. It is a problem, and I can't tell you right here that I have some great answer for it. We have to come up with another legal tactic because it's not, no one should have to live that way. And I'm well aware, I've spoken to everybody. You don't even like driving by it, that's.
Now, if the county, my God, yep, I'm a township. If the township goes and cuts someone's grass, do we charge for that?
We leave them, however,
He doesn't care.
he doesn't care because
He's not selling anytime
he
soon.
probably owes, he's been fined 20,000 times.
It's
That's
like
what I'm
dropping a
saying.
bucket.
So it's just, you know what I mean? So we're gonna have to, I will speak to the solicitor and try to come up with some other, and we've had people from Public Works go down there, and it was not pleasant going in there. Just to do what we did, it was not pleasant at all.
Cut the
So
grass?
grass would be a misstatement. Really a bad situation. So all I can say is I'll talk to the solicitor, we'll try to come up with something, but I know your pain, and especially this resident that here who happens to look right out of it. It's
We got raccoons,
yeah.
we got groundhogs, we got mice, because you can be sitting out at night and you can just see them going home. And that's what they do, they go home.
We'll have to come up with some other, again, some other legal, because
He
I
just
promise you,
doesn't,
he's not going to all of a sudden.
but he just doesn't own that house, he owns the property next door too.
Yeah.
So that's just the,
With his sister, from what I understand, but,
right,
yeah.
it's just that his sister tried to come out,
Yeah.
but she didn't stop, she
Yeah.
just,
I know, we tried to contact him.
yeah, she just gave up too, so.
Okay.
And I'm not blaming you guys,
No,
because I know you guys come out and do what you need to do, but it has to be up to another level.
Okay, we will double down.
Yeah, right.
And just with respect to the street resurfacing, do we have like a regular schedule for those?
Yeah, and you all have heard this, but not everyone has heard it. 4 years prior to most of us being here, what we did was, the township did what was called like microsurfacing, and they really didn't do repaving. They basically got a paintbrush and put black paint. That's why you notice you go down streets, and 5-7 years ago, you would drive down a street that was paved, you thought was paved the year before, and there's white lines in the middle from the tires. It was because it was never paved. It was done by some former staff here that were trying to cut costs. It wasn't effective, and it was a waste of money. So we have been catching up and putting a ton of money into actually repaving, and doing a lot of that. So Rockland definitely a street, and don't get me wrong, it's not just because you went 15 years with paving streets and not repaving. So there's a catch up, and we've upped our repaving threefold from prior, just as a, so we will, I'll see where we are with Rahway, but there's Rahway and others that are true.
Spraying.
Yeah, no, I understand, but the cracks too, we can definitely deal with that as a start, so.
Bless you.
we'll-
Yeah, just the cracks, just
Yeah.
fill that in.
And our guys were just down putting the final stop bars in, this week, so I know, and
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that. Okay,
That's a plus.
gotcha.
Any comments from the board? I just want to say that the Bachelor, if anybody has heard, the Bachelor is from Collegeville, and Jim Sullivan was the first runner-up to the Bachelor. Sorry, maybe next year.
Give another try.
All right, old business.
Always the bridesmaid.
So I would like to call on Finance Director Dave Chris to review the award bid for the 2007 Timco Sweeper L600.
Thank you Supervisor Rivera. At its last meeting, the Board of Supervisors authorized listing for sale on Municipal the Township's 2007 Timco Model 600 Street Sweeper. This piece of equipment became redundant and no longer needed when the Township purchased a new street sweeper, which arrived last month. So, the bidding started on August 8th, ended on August 18th, received over 300 bids, and the highest was by John Holliday of John P. Holliday Trucking in Ashley, PA, for a grand total of $54,400. So the staff is asking the board to award the sale of the Timco Street Sweeper to John Holliday for $54,400.
Mr. Chairman, before you go, I gotta tell you a little tidbit on this. Is Mr. Halliday any representative in the room?
He might be watching.
So.
That's what we say.
He's not. So
You got
let
a
me-
fine piece of machinery.
So let me put this way. We only bought the new street sweeper because we got a state grant. And our portion, $200,000, our portion was $30,000. We were very concerned with this fine piece of equipment. We were hoping we could get close to $30,000. When it came in at 54,
He struck a savvy deal, is what he did.
we wish him the best.
I don't know what you're trying to say, Mr. Manager.
We wish him the best of luck.
Yes.
That's what I would.
Any questions from the board? Would anyone care to make a motion to award the bid for the
I'll make that
2007?
forward.
We got a question.
You got a question?
Sorry.
We talked about the street sweeper at the last meeting.
I actually need you to come up to the podium if you could and give your name and address.
I'm Robert Whaley, I live at 319 Warsaw. We talked about the street sweeper, the purchase of the new one at the last meeting. And I requested saying, wow, you're sweeping the streets again. Is there a schedule on where you're going to use this brand new street sweeper?
There will be. There isn't yet, I can tell you that.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
I did see, I think it was the new one
Yeah.
on Germantown.
So the only reason, I mean, we just got this, literally, they were just training on it recently, and if you noticed, and I don't know if you've been behind the park, our public works, it's gonna be a few more weeks before they get back to that stuff, because they've been doing so much work on the building. But there's definitely a plan for a more robust schedule. Now, they get through the township, certain areas they get through every year, they get through certain areas more often. But with an older street sweeper, breaks down, it's down for 3 weeks, we should be in a much better position, but I agree, we'll try to publish so you know if it's in your area at a certain time. So we'll try to do that.
And then will this be like a once a month thing, or will it be?
I don't think it'll be once a month because it takes a long time to get through the township. If you saw them, they don't drive very quickly.
Yeah, I move slowly.
They don't, but I don't know how it can be, other than I know our Cecil B. DeMille back there is one of our public works superstars that I know. He was shaking his head that it wasn't going to be monthly. But I'll know more once I discuss it with the superintendent, but hopefully we'll be able to do more than we've done in the past.
Okay.
So. Okay.
All right, okay, so Supervisor McDevitt made a motion to approve the bid. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Thank you Supervisor Gavanis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. New business.
Okay, new business, I'd like to call on Solicitor Sean Penny to review item authorized to advertise ordinance amending Chapter 87, dogs and other animals.
Sure. And in relation to the ordinance amendment for dogs and other animals, this is merely getting together with staff and dealing with this. This is more of a housekeeping ordinance where it gives us another enforcement tool in our toolbox to deal with animals that may become unruly. Obviously, hopefully neighbors can settle these issues among themselves, but it's something that we want in place for the township staff, code, hopefully never police, to be able to handle. And this is just merely moving forward on advertising the ordinance.
Yeah, it just lowers the time. We have certain areas, I mean, listen, my mom has 2 dogs that never stop yelling, so I understand the issue. Certain areas, people have their, what I call yippy dogs, and they leave them out too long, and it drives me. Other neighbors out of their mind. We fully understand that. So we've been doing a lot of outreach to say, hey, can you do what you can to get your dog in and everything, but this gives us a little, it shortens the time to 30 minutes, and if your dog's out there and it's go and go and go, that we actually have some enforcement to say, hey, move your dog.
So so just for clarification, this is just to authorize
Just advertising, but that's really, the only real change is making the time that a dog can,
Yeah.
sure, just so, you know, that's.
Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the advertisement of the ordinance amending Part 2 of the general legislation, Chapter 87, dogs and other animals?
I will put that into motion.
Thank you Supervisor Rivera. Second?
Can I ask some questions? I'd like to go detail on this requirement. So my name is Cheryl Lawson. I live at 3317 Windsor Drive in East Norton. So I was reading the code to see what the requirements were. It's very generalized. So you're proposing to limit dogs barking for a period of 30 minutes, right? That's what's been proposed.
Continuous.
Continuous.
Continuous barking.
To be fair, it's very difficult to enforce. Almost impossible.
I understand that. I have dogs, so I
Yeah.
have to make sure that, my dogs go out and bark.
Yeah.
I bring them in if they're barking too much, but I know people in the neighborhoods, dogs are barking. So the next question is, what is the penalty? Or what will be the consequence for a dog barking for 30 minutes? So dogs barking for 30 minutes, people are complaining,
Right.
somebody's going out to the house, knocking on the door and saying,
I think
please
that-
bring your dogs in.
I think the thing there's one point I want to make. I don't think that anybody's going to be like, okay, ready to go, and wait 30 minutes.
Right.
Second of all, there's hardly ever, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they wouldn't come out and just slay the person, they would come out and say, we need you to make your dog stop. Like, we're getting calls, can you please bring your dog in?
There were multiple warnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a snap decision like that. It would be a fine though, because if you had your radio too loud after 11 o'clock, you're disturbing the peace, it's a fine. It's not, no one's going to get hauled off to jail.
No, I understand, but I would like to see maybe a little bit more structure around it to say, dogs are barking for 30 minutes, a call was made. We now say, okay, if the township is now receiving 3 or more calls in a week, make it more structured versus just one person, being the nasty neighbor and not wanting a dog to bark and, calling and then having, that homeowner penalized for that. That's on the.
In a lot of these nuisance violation cases, often it's the discretion of the township official or the officer that's really involved. I think this is purposely given, it's more vague, actually, because we want more discretion kind of built in. Now, of course, all ordinances, all laws of East Norton, everywhere else are living documents, right? So if this continues to be a problem, and you feel like that it is, being abused in any way or out of that, you can always bring this to the attention of Manager Hart or any other township official, and the board of supervisors can go ahead and amend this ordinance in the future. This is just a start. Hopefully, we don't hear too much about it going forward.
And tonight, thank you, yeah, and tonight we are only voting to advertise it so that others like you can record their concerns.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And to be fair, just, our goal is not to fine anyone, make anyone, it's not to make $50, that isn't, we don't want to do that. Really, when we go out, we've done it many times in the past, is just to try to say, hey, your neighbors are complaining, and honestly, it only even gets to that point when you happen to have a neighbor who sits for an hour and films it. And they come with a video, and there are people that do it, and they come with a video. So we don't even run out there, we just say, hey, your neighbors, I understand. We try to come out with a, because first of all, you gotta live with your neighbor too. Nobody wants to make a tough situation worse. So I assure you, our goal is to resolve it, not find anyone or anything else. Okay.
All right. Supervisor McDevitt made the motion.
I did the,
You made the motion. Who seconded the motion?
no one yet.
Anyone want to second the motion?
I'll second
To
it.
advertise? Supervisor McDevitt wants a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Advertising.
Okay, item 8, authorize the sale of police vehicles through municipal. I'd like to call on our chief of police, Phil Pulaski, to review this item.
Thank you. So the first auto is 4814, which is, that's its designation, it's a 2017 Ford Explorer. It has close to 114,000 miles, it's 113,843. It's currently out of service. It needs a new transmission. The estimated repair cost is $5,800, but the estimated value, if the transmission is repaired, is $10,861. So it's, with that high mileage and that differential between what it's worth and what it's going to cost to fix it, we're recommending that it be sold. With regard to the second vehicle, 4803 is the designation. That's a 2013 Dodge Charger. That has very high mileage. It's 132,589. The Blue Book value is $6,780, but Tom Douglas had done some research and saw that a similar vehicle just sold for $4,300. So probably $6,780 is a little on the high side. So I think maybe $5,000 is its actual value. There's currently a knocking sound in the engine. We don't know what that is, but we do know it needs a water pump, front end suspension work, electrical work, a battery, which would be a battery and an alternator. So once again, we're recommending that the value of fixing that vehicle is not worth its value. And so consequently, we're asking that both of these vehicles be approved for sale on municipal.
For anybody watching who wants to know about the knocking sound in the Dodge Charger, it knocks to the music that you're listening to while you're driving. Any questions from the board?
Actually, ours is knocking to the tune of Staying Alive. Blaming me for that, because I drove it once, and they think I was playing my old disco song, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with that.
All right, any questions from the board? All right, anyone care to make a motion to authorize the sale of the police vehicles through municipal?
I'll put that in the form of motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Gavana. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. C.
Oh, sorry. I would like to call on our Township Solicitor, Sean Kilkenny, again, to review a tax assessment appeal for 2947 Carlton Road.
Thank you very much for earning my pay here tonight. Wanted to tell you a little bit about, as you know, tax assessment appeals are mainly spearheaded by the school district. So the school district solicitor is the one that does the yeoman's work on this, really negotiates with the person that owns the property. As you saw, that's in your packet, this is a 1.5 acre property here in East Norton. And what the good news is, I see Dave Chris smiling, is if you go ahead and approve this, and as a school district, they do the yeoman's work, there'll be a slight increase in an assessment where East Norton Township, which gets a much lower level of the tax revenue in the school district, we get about $247 back if this is an improved. Obviously, if you disagreed with the school district's analysis, you would have to hire my firm to litigate the matter, get your own appraiser, and nobody in reviewing this recommends that that's worth your while. So we recommend approval of this assessment.
Any questions from the board? All right, would anyone care to make a motion to approve the tax assessment appeal for 2947 Felton Road?
I'll make that a formal motion.
Thank you Supervisor McDevitt. Second?
I will second that.
Thank you Supervisor Rivera. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Monthly expenditures for May 23rd through June 26, 2023. I'd like to call on our Finance Director, Dave Chris. I said that right? I read that correctly.
I believe it.
All right.
More specifically, it's from the date of our last meeting
Okay.
to the date before this.
All right, thank you.
So I think we're just qualified now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So, presented to you tonight are the township expenditures for the months, more specifically the expenditures from the date of our last board meeting to the day before this board meeting. Those expenditures total $1,375,900.85. Our accounts payable expenditures, those payments for utilities, supplies, and services, they total $891,615.84. And our payroll expenditures for that time period, our salaries, wages, and taxes, were $484,285.01. Township staff is asking for the board's approval of these expenditures. Be glad to answer any questions you might have.
For the integrity of the minutes, those figures are from July 25th was our last meeting to yesterday, you said?
Correct.
Which would be August 21st.
Correct.
2023. Any questions from the board? Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the monthly expenditures?
I will put that into a motion.
Thank you Supervisor Rivera. Second?
I will second.
Thank you Supervisor Gavanis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Manager's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quickly, our staff is continuing to go along Stony Creek Road and reach out to neighbors to see about the potential of the proposed plan of one-side parking to get everyone's feedback. As we said, we don't really have a real dog in this hunt. We wanted to see what the residents wanted out of this. We continue to go where it's a slow process. A lot of people aren't home in the summer. It'll probably tie up sometime in September, late September, because we just keep going. And I would say we met 40% of the residents. Just today, we met with a bunch as well. So we'll have more information hopefully by next week's meeting in September to see where that is. If you've been at the new building that's being erected, the Parks and Rec behind us, it's really coming along. The pickleball courts are on their way. There's a lot coming, a lot of excitement. It's going to be a really special place this fall. We hope to have a ribbon cutting late September, early October at the latest. We're just waiting on a couple things to come in that took longer supply. I hate using supply issues at this point, but there were a couple items that we're waiting for that should be here any time. So we're dealing with that. So stay tuned for a baby ribbon cutting. I know you're going to mention the events coming up. We have a huge community day, our biggest event of the year. Lots of new things, so stay tuned for that. We're hoping to have a big crowd on that. And lastly, when you talk about dedication, one of our Public Works superstars, also, he doubles as our cameraman for meetings. Dedication says on the night of his 21st birthday, he's here filming this meeting. He told me it was 21st, he said that last year too. But it's his birthday.
Is today your birthday?
Yes. Yes.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Tim.
Should we stay?
Is it the 21st anniversary of a birthday?
Almost.
More than that.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Before we go into the schedule of meetings and events, as far as leaf collection is concerned, are there specific days that people can go to the county? Yeah, go to the county. I keep doing that, I don't know why I keep doing that. Aspirations. No, I'm not going anywhere. On the township website,
Everything will be out on social media, and everything will be out and flooded the areas.
On social media, there's a lot of questions about what the township will take and what they won't take and what the restrictions are. If someone were to, yard waste, if someone were to trim their tree and have big branches, we don't chip them anymore, correct?
No.
But if they cut them down to 4 feet sections.
We're going to put the rules in, which we did last year as well, but.
I think there's a misconception that the township will take nothing.
Yeah, no, that's not, the reality is, and not to belabor it, but there are some people that, and we understand it, that will have a big tree cut down and say, here, the township take it. We would if we could, but it's not,
It's not feasible.
You either chop it up in small pieces and we'll take it at 4 feet limbs, or you would call a landscaper to come grab it. So some people think it's that, but it's really, if a branch comes down or a limb comes down, sure, you cut it, you put it out, we will take it along with your leaves and that type of stuff. So.
Okay, thank you. Upcoming meetings, Tuesday, September 12th at 7 p.m. There's a hearing board meeting, Wednesday, September 20th at 7 p.m. Planning Commission meeting. Thursday, September 21st at 7 p.m. is a Human Relations Commission meeting. Monday, September 25th is at 6:30 is Historical Advisory Committee meeting. They're not at 7. Just observation. Tuesday, September 26th at 7 p.m. is the next Board of Supervisors meeting. Upcoming events, there's a lot. September 9th, Saturday, September 9th, starting at 3 o'clock is Community Day. If you've never been to Community Day, make it a point to come. There's food trucks, there's a bunch of stuff.
Beer garden.
A beer garden for the kids. Thursday, September 14th at 10 a.m. Histories of American Infrastructure. They're asking for an RSVP. I'm going to kind of move away from the daytime stuff and go to the fun stuff. Not that that's not fun. The concerts in the park that were rescheduled from this summer. Every time we had a concert in the park, there was some kind of a weather event. So Sunday, September 17th, from 6 to 8 is the Shot of Southern. So that's a Sunday. And Friday, September 29th, from 6 to 8 is AM radio. So everything's available on the township website, not the county website. All right, any other citizens to be heard? Sue, do you have anything? Okay. Anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
Thank you Supervisor Rivera, second.
I will second that.
Thank you Supervisor Cabanas, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.